Hello everyone, this is Shadow Dragon from the DCUO community. Now way back on December 1st, I decided to start a little experiment. Since I'm a base builder and I have a bunch of bank alts with fully stocked bases, I decided to throw them into a league just to see how much prestige they would earn. And they ended up hitting 125 on May 22nd, enough for a league haul. So obviously it's in its very early stages, but I'm going to give you a preliminary tour and talk a little bit on how I got here. Now I do want to stress that it's my bank alts. It's none of the 6 level 30s that I have that are in my real leagues. So it's very passive gameplay. It's a league haul with very little effort, but a lot of patience because it took almost 6 months. So when I first started this out, it consisted of 8 tunes, and they were all under level 30. Now, one of them jumped to level 30 in February during the Valentine's Day event because the race was returning experience, and we got over the hump there. So that certainly sped things up. I think without a level 30, this probably would have taken a year. So I'd say a little over half of the prestige is from the level 30 character. Most of the rest is from base walk-ins, really, and any furniture donations, planned donations. As you can see in the observation deck area, most of the furniture are seasonal items. And that's when I really play my 8 alts. Now, so far I have a tendency to get detailed in like little corners, so it looks largely empty for now. So I'm going to need to make some adjustments, get rid of some items, and maybe place in larger items so it doesn't look so empty. Yeah, the item limit is a real challenge. I'm used to decorating bases where we have 500, and like for example, this huge room here only allows 80, so it's definitely a huge adjustment. Since it'll be a while before I get statuaries here, I just put the anniversary poster up because it actually gets framed pretty nicely with the architecture here. Now the item limit here is shared across this room and the 2 halls, so I went a little too heavy on the halls and didn't leave much for this room. A couple of seasonal items along with lockbox items. The central hall is probably the largest space. It also has an 80 item limit, but for some reason this one seems to be easier to decorate. I guess like since I don't want to block the statuary areas, I left everything in that central strip. And I don't know where I'd be without the spring seasonal. As you can see, I got a lot of those items. And as we step down a level, I started putting portholes here. These are just leftovers from what I had before. I'm gonna have to farm that again when the summer seasonal hits. So this is the mailroom area, and I wanted to convert this into a resort type space. So I've got the Valentine's Day tubs here for the spa area. Spaces like these where I wish we could get more detail. Like I'd like to throw in some rugs and baskets. But again, with the item limit, it has to be minimal. And moving around to the casual dining hall. Wanted to give this a cafeteria diner-like feel. And one of the cool things about merging is I can cover up these mailboxes. So I turned them into garbage cans with, I think that's a Venom side box or something like that. For one of the mailboxes in the back, I used a modern fridge, and I let the LCD panel slip through a little bit. And then there's a vintage fridge that's completely covering the mailbox. And the next room is a fine dining hall with larger tables, more seating. And then here's a basic recreation room. It's pretty much leftover items from what I had with the limit. And then a basic gym area. Now, originally I was going to make the lockers the walls, but I wrapped them with the seasonal trellis because I wanted it to be symmetrical with the spa side. Now I filled this hall with mostly sapphire items. Actually, a lot of these are leftovers. I was planning to sell them, but then I just decided to dump them in because I wanted like an extra prestige boost. So I didn't have anything in mind when I was dumping in the sapphire items. So it's by luck that I ended up with 4 of a kind of some of these to go into the 4 corners. Probably need to make some adjustments to spread out some items because the end of the hall is kind of empty. And down into the R&D area. This is where I put all the heavy equipment. And there's a blacksmithing station because most of my characters are from Dragonlance. So they like to build things the old-fashioned way. Now this alcove is actually dead space. You can't put anything in there for some reason. But the one on the opposite side, oddly enough, you can place items. So there are a lot of, I guess, quirks in some of these spaces, which can be a challenge. And this is the engine room that I merged a lot of the Third World items from the new Halls of Power DLC. Alright, now let's check out the other side. Like the other hallway, this one's just waiting for the summer seasonal to arrive. And as you can see, I ran out of portholes here. So this is the donation / bank area, and I decided to turn this into the sleeping quarters and the hospital, the medical area. The resort rooms wouldn't have worked on this side of the hall because this room here and the one across, those are dead space, at least in the undersea hall. Can't place anything in there. So the medical area is just 3 identical rooms divided by surgical screens. Another place I wish I could get more detailed because there are a lot of medical items in the game. Examination room and stasis chambers. I always end up getting a lot of dynasty drops, so I'm able to make this hallway pretty consistent. But again, with the item limit, I need to work on spreading these things out more because I kind of hit the limit before I was able to decorate all the segments of this hallway. And some office space. Again, this is a type of area that could have used some nice accents if there was no limit. Now this is probably the only room where I didn't struggle with the 80 item limit because since it is like a prison area, I didn't place too many objects here because you wouldn't want your prisoners accessing this kind of stuff if they ever broke out. I have some dojo objects for the training room, and I also put some seasonal items here because a good warrior can fight on any surface. So I kind of themed this one after the Christmas items with the icicles and the snowdrifts. And on the opposite side, I have a grassy surface with the spring seasonal items. On the far side of the central hall, I have a large pub area, and I wanted to base this after like an airport concession stand. So it wraps around and is accessible on both sides. Now the two pub areas, this one and the one in the observation deck, I had an idea in my head like before I had the league hall. So these items were planned out, unlike the Sapphire drops. For consistency, this small hall is the same exact as the one on the opposite side. And I have the mist container devices here in the statuary area. And again, I have the anniversary poster getting framed by the architecture here. And moving along to the control room. This is probably the most unfinished. I'm still collecting those office chairs to go around the round tables. So that's possibly 2 meeting rooms that I'm planning to set up. And I have some extra mist container devices there. And then a video briefing room. I think a lot of leagues do this. But again, you can't get carried away with the video wall because of the item limit. Almost every hall I've seen puts the meeting table in this central space here, but I was going for something different. I wanted like a mothership type look, where there are like consoles around a central commander's chair. And I have some of the crystals around here to represent a power source. And the sphere in front of the commander's chair is influenced by the Stargate cargo ships from Stargate SG-1. So yeah, that's just an early look at my personal league hall. I just wanted to show you like a passive path to get one of these with very little effort. Especially if you're an altaholic and a base builder, because you have all the tools right there. So I hope this gives you some ideas and encourages you to get one of your own. As always, good luck, have fun, and thanks for watching.